What is good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Fundamism podcast. It's your boy, Paul J. Long, excited as always for another awesome guest. Before I get to her, let's shout out our sponsor, Charlie Hustle. Been with us since day one. Still creating dope threads if you're into that sort of thing. I say dope because that's what the hip kids are saying. I'm not certain, Rob, that that's a thing anymore. Is dope still a word that people, yes, it is acceptable? Okay, well, you guys know me. I say dope all the time. Nevertheless, thank you, Charlie Hustle. If you haven't checked them out, go to charliehustle.com. They, of course, just dropped the first Fundamism Charlie Hustle collabo, the What's Good shirt. Check out the YouTube channel to see what this goodie looks like. You can swoop your own up at fundamism.com in the fun shop. We got a lot of awesome stuff planned, so be sure to go there to tune in. So listen, we're all about creating fun, gravitating towards the things that give you strength. I'm not naive. I know that we go through the struggle from time to time. And a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet somebody fascinating. And I met her at a very interesting time in her life. You know that energy is real. We talk about it all the time. And for one reason or the other, I saw this amazing gal that for one reason or the other, the energy wasn't right. It just felt off. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kim Vater, like water, only with a V.
With a V.
How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing fabulous. That was a great intro.
Was it?
Yes.
Thank you.
And
no
I
one's
love
ever
that
told me
you
that.
were one of the only people that were like, Kim, how are you doing today at the gym? And I was like, you know my energy's off.
So I can't wait to get into all that. But obviously, we could talk about stuff that tears us down. We do it all the time, right? And that's where our headspace goes. And unfortunately, it takes control of us. But I like to focus on the things that give us strength. So with every single guest, we start the episode with, what do you do for fun? So what is it that you do for fun?
Can it be more than one thing?
Oh, heck yeah.
Currently, since I teach part-time, I like to go to the pool right now with people. But my friends, other teacher friends too. I love just surrounding myself with positive people. I do go to the gym. I think that's like my therapy. So I do think that's fun. Some people don't think that that's that fun, but
No.
I think it is fun. You put your headphones on and you don't really have to talk to anybody.
I agree. But you
It's fun.
find yourself talking to a lot of people because you're
Yes.
fairly popular at the gym because you frequent it. You're a staple there. I mean, everybody knows Kim, and you're super kind and thoughtful to everybody. And I find that interesting because in your profession, obviously you train as well. We're going to talk about that. But you just mentioned that you're a teacher. So what grades do you teach? What grade do you teach?
I did teach. It's hard for me to say I just teach middle school because I taught high school for 8 years actually, but now I teach middle school 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And that's a tough age.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Do you remember how awkward you were when you were in 6th,
Sis,
7th,
I'm
and
still
8th?
awkward.
I know.
Hello, my name's Paul. Have we just met?
My awkward stage lasted a lot longer than my students, but
Right.
it is so interesting. I'm like, how do you guys have so much energy? Like it's like you're on pre-workout all day.
Yes.
So
Do you take pre-workout?
occasionally.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
It's terrible for you, huh?
It is. Yes. I just don't want to
Bad for your heart?
Yeah, and you're just adrenals and all of that. But so I just try to drink coffee.
I'm on that pre-workout right now.
Really, I bet you're on all day. You're like a middle schooler.
That is true. No, that is 100% accurate. I appreciate you noticing. Thank you. So tell me about that aspect of your life. Teaching middle schoolers, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of things changing in the body. A lot of insecurities going on. So in your experience, how do you manage children that are going through all that stuff? I say children, but they're, teens, I guess, adolescents.
I think it goes actually even with adults. It's just, I just make sure that they know I care about them. Yes, I teach Spanish, but that's not why I'm a teacher. Like, I just care about them. Like, I truly am like, what's going on with you today? And, it's hard to, I don't know, tap that, like get into a middle schooler because I don't really know. So I'm like, if I have a girl struggling, I'm like, she's literally not listening to one word I'm saying.
Right.
She's thinking about how her friend made her mad and she's talking to the boy on Snapchat or something like that. I don't know. So it's like, they probably listen to like 5 minutes of the whole class.
That's true.
So I
That
just have
sounds
to
like
accept
a
it.
lot like my wife and I when we talk to one another. Shout out, honey. I'm thinking of you right now. I realize I wasn't present in conversation last night. Paul, why you got to bring up old stuff? So, Spanish,
Yeah.
Espanol.
Español.
I took 7 years of Spanish in high school and college collectively, and I can't speak a lick. Why is that?
If you go to a swim-up bar in Mexico after some tequila, you might remember some.
I can actually, I can understand kind of the basics of what people are saying, but I can't formulate a sentence.
Yeah, that's okay. I do teach in Blue Valley, and we have a really great curriculum that the kids do pretty well in.
So the thing with Spanish was that it was very heavy in homework. And I was always, and so I don't want to speak for your experience. I want to learn about how you manipulate these little brains, which I know that's not what you do, but you kind of do. I never thrived in homework. I was always a procrastinator. I was always a last-minute crammer for tests. I've carried those attributes on in just about everything that I do in life. Business, it's not good. I'm not saying that people should do that, but I kind of thrive when I'm up against the gun, right? So anyway, when I was taking Spanish, I'd never do the homework, and we have all these workbooks and stuff like that. And so, but I'd cram the night before the test. I'd smash the test, and consistently I would get a C in Spanish. So my mom would tell me, why don't you work harder? Why don't you do the homework? Why don't you, Paul, if you apply to yourself just a little bit, you can get straight A's. And so I would say to her back, but Mom, I'm having a blast. I'm not putting pressure on myself. I'm killing the tests, and I'm really getting A's and B's, when you look at so why put myself through that? What advice would you give me if I was in your class?
In my class, I just want you to bring your A game every day. So
that was a play on words.
That was like, I know. I didn't even think about that. No, one of my students goes, I really like your class. You don't really give homework. I'm like, well, one, because I don't really believe in homework. Like, I'm one of the teachers. I just don't really believe in a lot of homework. I don't give a lot of homework. So that could be why they like me, but I'm just focused
That's
in class.
That's definitively why they like you.
Probably. And so I would just say, I want you to participate every day. So I'll just engage with me every day.
Sure.
And, you don't have to yes, I want them to do their homework, but I would just say try to focus.
So how do you learn Spanish without doing homework?
I have them listen. We listen to music. And they still listen to it. I'll have students be like, oh my God, every time I hear Todo Cambió by Camila, I think of you. And this was what I taught 8 years ago. But we just do reading, writing, speaking. I just try to make it applicable to them and do all of those modes in the same class.
Okay.
But middle schoolers, that was a different ball game for me. It takes 5 minutes to get a pencil out. So I just had to really be patient. I'm I am so patient. But with middle schoolers, it's really tested that.
What's the most challenging moment that you've had with a student? High school, middle school, whatever it may be.
Gosh.
Most challenging interaction, most challenging conversation.
No, I'll tell you it was a whole year. It was 7th hour. All of the athletes were in my class. I was 22 years old in this classroom. It was all white. No, it wasn't my classroom. And so they were literally
Wait, white people
crazy.
Or the classroom was white?
The whole, well, probably a little mix there, but not that much. All the walls were white because it wasn't my classroom. I had 3 different classrooms that I had to travel with a cart. And then I had all the high school boys in that class. And it was just, I couldn't even teach because they were just crazy. They'd sing the Justin Timberlake Senorita song every time I walked in the door.
Yes.
They'd be like, Senorita, every time. And so I'd laugh. Can you imagine how hard that was to get people there?
Now, we're going to do something that they don't typically do right now. That's my favorite ending to any song. When he says, when he shouts out the guys and then the girls, and they say, you know the ending of that song?
No, I don't even remember.
Gosh, dang it. Now it's on the tip of my tongue. But what an amazing professional segue. I'm going to come back to that song, but you brought up music. You said music matters to you, and you said Todo Laba Calamalila.
Todo Cambió by Camila. It's an old school classic boy band song. It's years old.
So you listen to Spanish boy bands. You told me this before we started.
Little do you know, when I'm lifting weights in the gym, I'm usually listening to Spanish music.
Yes. And I said, and the only Spanish band I know is Menudo, right? Which is Ricky Martin's previous.
I'm not familiar. I listen to CNCO, Jesse and Joy, but that's a sister and brother duo. And then I listen to Reek. It's Reik.
Okay.
Yeah, they're from Mexico. They're great.
So what got you into Spanish music?
I don't know. I just honestly, sometimes when I just want to zone out, I'll food prep on Sundays and listen to Spanish music. And that just made me happy. So I just kept on doing it.
Food prep.
I don't even really do that a lot anymore. But hey, if you can make that process any better, then listen to some music.
That's one of the Achilles heels of my lifestyle is my diet. And I think we've talked about this before at the gym. I love to work out. It is my meditation. It's my escape from, whatever's going on in my life. And I go up and I listen to music and I enjoy myself. And you could always tell when I'm super in the zone because I'm like, I do the old one earbud pull out, right? I'm like,
Yep.
Oh, what did you say? But you had to say it 3 times before I finally pulled it out.
Exactly.
Because if you didn't get the hint, I'm in my zone. But nevertheless, I eat like crap. And I admire folks that have the opportunity like you to food prep or the diligence rather, because I know that takes a lot. Do you still do that?
If you would have asked me 7 years ago, I'd be like, yes, I prep every meal. Now I'm like, no, absolutely not. I do a lean protein and some veggies, and then I just put together stuff. I'm not your Tupperware person. That's not sustainable to me. And it's not enjoyable. So
Agreed.
I just don't want to do it. So I don't.
Yeah. So great point, because I feel like, a lot of folks that take working out, fitness, whatever you want to call it, to that level of extreme where you're food prepping and you're watching every calorie and you're, eating all the proteins and potentially you're even doing a show and you're starving yourself. And I've seen people on these, these couple of weeks before their shows and they're on these diets and they're angry and they're upset. And I'm like, this is no way to live. Fitness to me is an escape. It's a fun, you said it earlier, it's fun to you. A lot of people don't find it fun. When you create that level of extremism, I feel like it takes the joy out of it. Were you ever like that?
Yes, I was absolutely like that. I would say when I first started, when I was 23, I actually started working out when I was 23. I'm 33 now. So then I was like, oh, this is easy. And I would focus on carbs, fats, and protein. I'd be like, okay, I got obsessive about it. And I would only eat clean. Have you ever heard of orthorexia?
I have not.
I pretty much probably had that. It's I was just very restricted and I wanted to see how lean I could get. And then I started to learn about nutrition because I was like, a lot of people, they're like, I should just eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. And then they think that that's healthy. So I really took a turn and I just started to learn about nutrition. And I was like, oh, I can't eat all of this food. I just wanted to learn how much I can eat. Not label foods as good and bad, but I absolutely was like that. I was just kind of a mess. I was obsessive over it.
And so were you happy at that time? Or do you even recall? Do you remember it was so long ago?
I think I thought I was happy for a little bit, but probably no. Because my friends would be like, let's go out. And I'm like, oh, well, I got to hit my macros. And I was like, oh, I can't have that. That food is bad. Or we'd go to my mom's house. She's like, what can you eat? That's not life.
Yes.
So now I'm like, oh, this is what I can eat. I kind of know how much I can handle. And if I choose to exceed my caloric budget, I don't feel bad about it.
It's funny that you even know what that is because I just eat everything that's in front of me. And I am certain that I'm going to lose a foot one day to diabetes because I eat all the sugar nonstop. Every single meal I have to have dessert. And I know it's not good for me, but it's so delicious and difficult for me to cut out. Clearly, it's not a priority for me to fix that aspect of my life. But I'm certain as I get a physical one day and somebody tells me, Paul, you need to cool out, it will become a priority. So fitness is your game. Your profession is kind of fitness. You do about 8 hours a week in training. Mm-hmm. We talked about you being a teacher for a profession. Obviously, fitness as a trainer, you're a teacher as well. What types of, well, first of all, the whole reason why I wanted to have you on is I found your whole mantra, your course class, amazing. And so your name is Kim, obviously, and you came up with an acronym, Keep It Moving with Kim. And so I connect with that because, the whole deal with Fundamism is gravitating more towards the things that give you strength. And we've all had those times where we've been knocked down and, you got to keep it moving.
Got to keep it moving. I know.
So what's that? Tell us.
Keep it moving. Gosh, I do have people that will even text me K.I.M. It's hilarious. But Keep It Moving came about I don't know, when I was 25 and I was a teacher with summers off and I'd wake up on Sunday morning and people would still be at our house and I'd be like, keep it moving, guys. Let's go out. Let's go and have Sunday fun day. So it was actually not related to fitness at all.
So still be at your house because you guys were getting
Yeah,
turned
we would have
the
like
night
sleepovers.
before.
Like there would be people. Yeah. And it was fun. I mean, when you're in your 20s, why not? And so I was just like, let's go, guys, keep it moving. And then fast forward, when you hit 30, you're like, oh crap, I got to get my life together. Or do I ever have it together?
It moving now, yeah.
But I was like, people just need to move. And it's a fun class, like keep it moving. I just wanted to come up with a name. Movement, as long as you I just think you should do what you like, whatever movement means to you. So you should just keep it moving however you can.
So what's the theme? I know that you're extremely upbeat. You love music. Speaking of which, we just recently dropped a podcast last week about listen to music with purpose. And there's a lot of music that means and matters so much to me. Specifically, I feel like I could find a song that's going to evoke a certain emotion in my day. I have one that I start my day with. I want some energy. I listen to Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart. I was listening to Marshall Tucker Band on the way in here. Can't You See? I am the king of wishful thinking, so I bump the Go West all the time. I asked you, what is your favorite song, or what's a song that speaks to you before the podcast started? And you said...
I said Crooked Smile by J. Cole.
Why? Why do you select that one?
Like, we all have crooked smiles. We're not perfect, but you just got to love yourself because that's what's most important. So that song always sticks out to me because in rap music now, you just hear so much...
Sprinklers.
I don't know.
Yeah. Stuff that doesn't resonate with us anymore.
Right.
Yes.
And so I'm like, this is like a hip hop song that I can like relate to, and it brings women up. I think, as opposed to down. And so I think as women, we need to empower each other and love ourselves. So honestly, that's why I like it.
I like that. And specifically, J. Cole is known for that. He is a very empowering person who likes to bring back, thought-provoking things and force people to think about the good that's in their life. And he's very intelligent. And so I love people that, take the opportunity to leverage their gift to bring joy, fun, and fulfillment to others, and he's that guy. So that song resonates with me as well. Interestingly enough, though, I never drew that correlation. We all have crooked smiles. Clearly, that's the whole purpose of the song. But when I hear you say that, I'm like, oh, that's right. I do have imperfections.
Right.
What are they?
I don't know.
I talk way too much. I'm a freaking clown. I'm 12 years old in a 38-year-old body. I got a lot of problems. Just ask me.
So do I. But hey, it is who we are.
You're killing the segue game. Let's talk about problems. So you mentioned that, when you're mid-20s, you're turning up, you're having a good time, you're keeping it moving. You stay up late Saturday night, you get up and you go after it on Sunday. Then you get married and your focus changes and you become a little more sensitive to the people around you, what you're doing in life, maybe your profession. What age did you get married?
25, but I married my high school sweetheart. We were together from 13 years old to 30.
That's a little detail that you left out earlier.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a big one, I'm sure.
That's crazy.
I know. So, yeah, that was a big... Yeah, we were together 17 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know.
So, okay, now let's carve this onion. Peel it back. What do you do with an onion? You cry. You don't eat onions.
You make onion rings.
Yeah, no tears.
Oh, do you like onion rings?
I do.
But I can't eat them.
I can't. I just have to be gluten-free now. Dang it.
Right. So, again, killing the segue game because now you've identified you're gluten-free, and that came about because of life changes.
Yes.
So when I met you, I started this whole thing out by saying your energy was just off, right? I'm big in energy. I feel it. I feel as though, and I've had this conversation with Rob, when Rob's going through things or I could just tell the way that he interacts with me, the way that he does his work. Same thing when I met you. I could just feel that something wasn't off or it was off, but it wasn't right. So what was going on in your life and what did it ultimately do to you?
Oh, gosh.
I know that's a super loaded question that you told me to ask.
I know. So when I was around that 26, 27, I started to get into fitness and I was a full-time teacher, married. And then I kind of got obsessive with fitness, and I ended up taking it on as a career. So my trainer at the time ended up becoming my boss, and I ended up doing well there. And so I ended up being unfaithful in my marriage, which took me honestly a while to actually say that out loud, because that's hard. So I ultimately, living outside of your integrity, you lose yourself. I completely lost myself. So I worked in a very unhealthy environment and an unhealthy relationship with my boss. Narcissist, could win a world-class award for being a narcissist.
Yeah.
Manipulation. It was like walking on eggshells every day. And so, again, cheating on my husband and feeling that pain, like it was just unbearable. And so I ended up, the relationship with my boss, I think I confused love for power. And so he was so manipulating, and it was very unhealthy for me. And so when I finally, that emotional, it's like you're in fight or flight mode every day. So imagine like standing next to a tiger every day of your life for a good year and a half. That's like
Rob every time he's working with me.
Yeah, right? But you're in that fight or flight mode. You're not in that rest and digest mode. And so I just kept going with it. And the only thing I could focus on during that time was my coping skill was perfectionism, looking a certain way, being perfect to other people, but I wasn't living my truth and staying true to my values and all of that. So fast forward after a divorce, and then staying with my boss for, I don't even know, a year after that, and finding out he had multiple relationships, I finally stood up and used my voice and walked out and did what was right for me. But it's taken a lot of all of that, just imagine standing next to a tiger, having weights on your shoulders every day. It took a lot of self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, personal growth, and all of that. Like my body literally shut down. So if you go from 15% body fat every day for 3 years, I gained 15 pounds in 4 weeks. 4 weeks, 15 pounds. And so that was really, really tough, because it took losing everything I loved about myself. Like I thought I associated my self-worth with what I looked like.
Sure. A lot of people do.
And so I didn't even see value, because I was like, who's going to want to train with me if I've gained 15 pounds?
You literally said that to me. I remember, I don't know how, we don't talk very often, but when we do, one of the things that I think, unites us, or that we have in common, is that we both gravitate towards positive messages. And you talked to me about Brene Brown, and that you like to read things, and you had even you recommended a book to me. And forgive my ignorance, I don't recall it because it was over a year ago. But I connected with you in that. And for one reason or the other, one day I asked you, how is it going? And you flat out laid it on me. And you said that. You said something to the extent, I'm struggling, like I put on this weight, and how could I expect that people would want me to train them if I looked this way? And I'm like, sis, what are you talking about? You look phenomenal, right? But we don't see what, you know what I mean?
No.
So that's crazy to me.
So I looked at myself in a completely differently. I had to go to podcasts, read some Brene Brown, like kind of rediscover who I am. Because pain makes you evolve.
Yes.
And so it just made me evolve physically and mentally. So that led to gut health, hormone imbalance. Literally, my body was just like, everything I was repressing down, pain and joy, I was depressed for a while. I was holding an inflammation, like I just wasn't myself. And I didn't know how to communicate that to anybody. I was just like, I'm not okay.
So there's so much here to unpack for you, our listener, in that we all have things that we go through, and life is a cycle. You go through challenging times, you go through terrific times, and bad things are always coming. Like if life is great right now, you're going to face some challenge in the near future. So it's not about whether it's coming, it's what do you do to get through it when it does happen, right? I can't help but sit across from you and admire the fact that you, own the fact that you are unfaithful. because that is not a topic that a lot of people would say out loud or be comfortable in sharing. And I'm certain that there's people listening to this today that are doing something that they know is not right? Be it at work, be it at home, be it in a relationship, whatever it is, you're doing something that you feel deep down in your heart of hearts is not right. And it's bringing not only an unhealthy mind, but it's creating a lack of health in your body. Talk to me about the discovery and that correlation, because I know that you've actually done some studies about how mind goes with body health. What was it how did you identify that those two went hand in hand?
Gosh, it took going to see a naturopath, and I just knew I didn't feel right. Like my doctors would be like, just go on antidepressants, eat a little bit less carbs. And I'm like, no, that is totally it's not right. Like you go to these people that you think have the answers. So I had to ultimately trust myself too. And I found Brendan at Metabolic Solutions too. And I paid for testing too.
Shout out to Brendan.
Yeah, he did great and just kind of helped me through that. But it was, your mental health is so, I can't even explain how important it is to your physical health. Like I knew I wasn't, when you're outside of your integrity, that just weighs on you. And eventually people, I think, can go through that and be normal for a while, but I think eventually that's going to crash.
Yes.
Like I never felt good about my actions ever. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to. It took just living in my truth again, which took some time.
If you had to kind of categorize your personality style, we mentioned dope earlier. That is a word that means a lot to me because I associate the word dope with a personality assessment that this gentleman by the name of Richard Stepp did years ago, and I talk about it in my keynotes. But dove, owl, peacock, and eagle, these are all personality styles. And doves are individuals that are very warm and emotional, and they'll sacrifice their own happiness to make sure that everybody else is good. And they're constantly worrying about what everybody is thinking and doing and wanting to make sure everybody's comfortable. Owls are the analytics. They're the individuals that are always caught up in the details. They're weighing the pros and cons of everything. The peacock is colorful, and you got to let them fly. They're the individuals that are typically the center of attention. There's never a stranger in the room, always having fun, thrive in creativity, struggle in detail. And the E is the eagle, the natural born leader, the individual that typically has a plan and will do whatever it takes to make it happen because they're a doer, right? So they're that natural born leader. I can't help but listen to you and hear your story and see how you conduct yourself and think that you got a lot of dove in you and that you care a lot about people and wanting to make sure that others feel comfortable, so much so that you would sacrifice your own happiness to make sure that others are comfortable. Is that
It's very accurate.
Accurate assessment?
Yes. I would say I'm very empathetic.
Yes.
Have you done the Enneagram? So I'm the helper. So that what you kind of said was the helper.
Definitively.
So I've had to work to be a healthy helper. So it's just kind of, but keeping myself a priority and loving myself. So it's taken a lot of positive self-talk to be a healthy dove.
Yes.
I'm a peacock a little bit too.
I know that. Yeah.
I don't have an attention to detail very. I
don't either.
I'm a type B.
Which is why it's a Wednesday, and these episodes typically drop on Wednesdays, and here I am recording it. I struggle in details. We're doing this charity event, Volley Llama, and I'm so excited about it. And I don't gravitate towards things that are going to give me stress. And with Chase at Charlie Hustle, you had mentioned that you've run into Chase several times. Great guy. Him and I decided to take on this project. In combination with Chicken and Pickle and Kelly Aldridge. And it sounded fun at the time, and man, it's a blast, but oh my gosh, there's so many details that I suck at, and it's overwhelming and stressful.
Yeah.
So we bring that stress into our life. Well, I'm a peacock, but I'm also, I'm an eagle, so I'm actually a peagle. You can have a primary and a secondary. But
I love it.
The thing that I admire about what you're saying is there's doves out there that will always sacrifice their happiness. My mother is a perfect example. So my father, well documented. I talk about my dad a lot. My dad was amazing. He gave me every relationship skill that I have, I got from my dad, like his humor, everything. My dad was also an addict. He was somewhat selfish and egotistical, and he really struggled with addiction for the last several years of his life, really his whole life, but the last 10 years, it really took over him. And I remember having very serious conversations with my mom, Sandy, at the time, saying, you can't allow him to bring you down. Like you're going to look back and you're going to say, gosh, I didn't live the life that I wanted to live because I was supporting him. And I remember telling my mother, you should leave my father. And my mom said, I'll never forget this. She said, I could never do that to you guys. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, if I don't take care of him, then that burden is going to fall on you. And I said, Mom, that's not your responsibility or our responsibility. You can't own that. That's a true dove, right?
Yeah.
Here's why I tell this story. Because you are going through this moment where you're being manipulated. You've done the wrong thing. You understand it. Now you're out of that relationship. You're in this toxic one. And all of a sudden you find the courage as a dove to say, nope, enough is enough. How did you get there?
I literally, remind me to tell you about the same situation with my parents.
Please.
Remind me in a second. So that I just kind of said, after finding out that he was with other women, because I worked there, that was my livelihood. So to leave there was leaving, I would have no money. I quit teaching at the time and did full-time training and nutrition, which I was so passionate about. And I developed so many great relationships with so many great people who I loved dearly. And employees, I developed great friendships. So I was like, how can I leave these people? And then so once I got a phone call from like a husband of a lady, one of the clients there, he said that, or a Facebook message actually, he said that his wife was cheating with my boss too. And I said, fine, I'm out, I'm done. Like I can't let this, to walk into your work, walking on eggshells anyways every day, and then to have that personal relationship and just feeling insecure and uncertain, and it was just a negative feeling that I was just like, I'm done. I can't do it. So I substitute taught for a little bit after.
So these are the details that we always talk about the what, but we never talk about the how. Because, be more positive. Have more fun in life, right? Yeah, that's good, but I don't know how to do that. So tell me how. This is probably one of the most challenging moments in your life, obviously. It's when I met you, and clearly it had a significant impact on your physical and mental health. There are a lot of details that are being left out that you might not even remember. For someone like you, a natural dove, to get to a point where you could finally say enough is enough. What did that conversation look like, and how did you work yourself up to get to the place where you were confident in having that conversation?
Because I knew I should have left years ago. I knew that deep down. I knew this was never healthy for me. I knew what's a sign when you're like best friends. No one was supportive of me. They were just like, Kim will come to this realization when she's ready.
Right.
And I was ready. I mean, I literally was getting on a plane to LA to go visit my friend Carrie, because I had said before, I told him, I go, if you ever bring this into the gym, then I'm out. So that was like an ultimatum I gave in June of that year. I quit in January, or like December 27th or something like that. And
something like December 27th.
I know. I just remember. I just remember that was when I went to go see Carrie. But I was like, if you ever bring this into the gym, then I'm done. And that Facebook message said that affair had been happening since June. And I was like, well, clearly that message did not mean anything to him.
Exactly.
And I actually, I brought a lot of people. Like I feel proud of myself and what the relationships I developed. I have 15 to 20 clients because of those relationships to this day that followed me. So it took a lot of leaving. And I even had a couple, they stay after, because some people knew what had happened.
Sure.
Between him and I, and then it kind of got out once another woman was involved. And a couple who I love dearly, a man and a woman, they were like, can we stay just to watch you and make sure you were okay? So they stayed with me.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I know I believed in myself enough to stand up for me,
right,
and get my life back.
So the two things that I hope that everybody is really taking away from today's episode is, the first thing is self-discovery is key to any aspect of growth in your life, and understanding the difference between right and wrong. Everybody knows, when you're messing up, right? It just, And if you don't know that you're messing up, just check your energy. Check how people are interacting with you. Are your friends riding with you, or are they saying, she'll figure it out, he'll figure it out?
Right.
Because that's a true mirror, right? How people respond to you. If you're finding that your interactions are different, it's probably not them. It's probably you. And so
true.
The first thing is self-discovery, obviously, and owning whatever role you're playing in your environment. The second thing is it doesn't matter who you are, what personality style that you have, what you think you're capable of. You're capable of it. All you have to do is stand up and make a decision. When you make something a priority, and we've had this, if you don't recall, we had a solo cast called Priorities. Everything that you say as a reason of why you're not accomplishing what you want to. You want to get out of a toxic relationship, you want a new job, or whatever it may be. Everything that comes up as a reason why you're not really just is an excuse for saying, this is not a priority for me, right? Just be honest with yourself and saying, this is not a priority for me. I want out of this toxic relationship. Yeah, but he kind of loves me. I think he'll come back around. No, it's not a priority. You're scared. You're fearful. Whatever it may be, it's not a priority. So I hope that you take that out of this episode because, Kim, I find your story fascinating. You're in a much better place now.
Absolutely.
Where are you now and how did you get there?
Oh gosh, I'm so much happier. I'm free. I found myself again. Unfortunately, it took mistakes and hitting rock bottom and to rediscover who I am and who I always knew I was. But honestly, it took podcasts, Brene Brown, some good friends. Even one of my friends, very dear friends, she goes, Kim, no one is going to make a change for you. No one is. You have to do it. And this was like 2 months, I think, before I actually quit that job. And it was just like, you're right. Like, I just didn't know how to go about making that change. And so it was making a decision and having my actions follow that. So now I'm on my own training.
Keeping it moving.
And I just my goal for myself is just to be healthy. I don't put pressure on myself to look a certain way, to be a certain body fat percentage anymore. I obviously want to set a good example. I do enjoy wine from time to time.
As you should.
As I should, but yes.
Because we talked about earlier, like everything everything in moderation. It's when you get to an extreme part and you're out of balance, which we've talked about before, that's when shit starts going awry.
That's true.
And you cannot work out like a crazy person and say that fitness is your life while every other aspect of your life is falling apart, right?
That's absolutely true. And I actually, when all of that happened, one of the doctors said, you need to stop exercising so much and stop eating protein because my body wasn't digesting it. So I'm like, these are two things that I love. What do I do? So I had to when you're stressed, when you have emotional stress, your exercise is a stressor. So I had to retrain myself. I was up at Lifetime doing burpees, hopping all over everything, box jumps. And now I'm like, you'll very rarely see me do anything high intense.
Yes.
I just lift weights.
Specifically, I'm like, hey, I'm not about that cardio life. And you're like, I'm not either anymore.
I know. It really took that. Like, it caught up to me. Like, gosh, when I was in my 20s, I was like, I'm going to hop over everybody here. And now I'm like, no, that did nothing good for my hormones, my mental health. So now I just lift heavy things because I like it. And my body likes it.
I pick things up and I put them down. So one thing that's been driving me crazy this whole episode to the point where I had to pick up my phone while you were telling that story and look it up is the ending of Justin Timberlake's Señorita song.
What is it?
It feels like something's heating up. Can I leave with you? And then the ladies say, I don't know what I think about really leaving with you.
That is awesome.
That is my favorite part of that whole song.
I bet all the boys really wanted to say that to me too.
That's true. Man, that high voice part, that's something that I've never struggled with either. I got kind of a high falsetto. And so I don't know what it is about me that people have always questioned my sexuality, specifically my cameraman. Do you know this guy deep down thinks that I'm super into men, which I don't care. And I actually think that I embrace that. Like, because I treat, whether you're a male or a female, I treat everybody the same. Like, I remember people thinking that I was flirtatious. I act the same with you, Kim, as I do with Rob. And I remember Rob specifically asked my wife a couple of months ago, do you think Paul is gay? And she was like, no, I think Paul, when he knows that something gets to you, will latch onto that and make it a game. And so like, we just go ham back and forth. But why do I bring up that story? Because I kill the falsetto and the high voice and the Madonnas and everything that's fun in life, I embrace. And if if my behavior allows you to look at me differently or judge me, I don't give a shit because I'm doing me and I'm having a blast. Sis, I'm keeping it moving.
Yes, that's exactly right. I love that about you.
Well, listen, I love a lot about you. You're an amazing individual. If people want to learn more about Keep It Moving with Kim, where do they go?
I have an Instagram, Kim, and then an _Vater, like water with a V. I do have a website, kimvaterfitness.com. I am going to put out some online programs. I'm going to do a mind, body, and soul program and it will focus on nutrition, self-compassion, and a workout. It'll be a 4-week program that I'm going to launch in September. So stay tuned. Just because that whole emotional, mental health, and self-compassion and fitness, I don't see a lot of people doing, and it's so dear to my heart. So I'm going to focus on that now.
As you should. And, when you gravitate towards the things that you're passionate about, a lot of times good things happen. So, I've referenced you multiple times as sis, which is an endearing term. I say that to a lot of folks. You and I are individuals that have had connections in the past. And when I met you at the gym, I didn't realize that we have been many at the same parties and I have never run into you. So your brother, Scott, he runs in the circle of the coolest individuals on this planet. I mean, I often talk about, you become the average of the 7 people that you're closest to. Mm-hmm. A couple of years ago, I was celebrating a birthday, and my wife asked me, what do you want to do for your birthday? And I said, I want to go to Dan Krejci's house. I want to go and I want to play and be competitive and be around people that smile and lift each other up.
Yes.
That's where, so you go there, you've been there several times. Scott is a friend of all those guys. So
they are amazing people. They are, and they do activities. One thing I love about them is they might go and have some drinks, but they're doing fun things, which is amazing. And my brother, he couldn't even hurt a fly. Like they are just such positive people. I need to go over. Now I want to go over there.
Yes. Well, we're going over to tonight to play pickleball to prep because Dan is actually my partner for Volley Llama tomorrow, the celebrity pickleball tournament. So as you listen to this, either the pickleball tournament will be happening later in the evening or it will have already concluded. So I know that we are going to smash it. Go to volleyllamakc.org to learn more about that. Obviously, hit up Kim on Instagram. She's got a lot going on. She's got a phenomenal story. I hope that you learned something from it today. What I took from it is that we're all going through something, and you have to embrace your role in whatever you're going through and stand up. No matter who you believe you are or who you think you should be, it takes courage to stand up and say, this isn't what I want or not what I'm about, and I'm going to make changes accordingly. You've done it, you owned it, and you're free to talk about it, which is crazy and says a lot about you. So keep it moving, sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. You're
Anything
awesome.
you want to say and send off all of our Fundamism guests? That's a lot of pressure on you.
I know it is a lot of pressure. One thing I did not bring up a lot is that I do help people. My passion truly is nutrition too, and just helping people have a healthy relationship with food and themselves. So that's one thing that I am passionate about. So if anyone needs any help with that, then I'm your girl.
I feel like she was just selling me because that's literally what I said is my Achilles heel. Did you hear what she just did? That was full circle. That's what we call a callback. Nicely done.
Thank you.
So Fundamism.com, obviously to learn more, we appreciate your support. Thanks for being our ride or dice, guys. I continue to get amazing feedback from all of you and appreciate knowing that our message is resonating with a few. If you want to rep the brand, please go to Fundamism.com, hit the fun store, swoop up our Charlie Hustle Fundamism co-branded shirt, the What's Good shirt. I know Rob saw it for the first time today, and he's like, I got to get one of those. And I told him that'd be $30. He doesn't want to pay. Rob believes that everything in this life is free. That's not true, though. You're a worker. You do the damn thing. That's why I ride with you, man. Guys, have a great day. As always, please go out and create some fun for yourself and hopefully do the same in creating life fun, joy, and fulfillment for others. Have a great day, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Deuces!